Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center, New York, Stu Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Cruising along the Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 6. We do this every day. If you're new to the show, welcome. And we're here. It's getting ready for the holiday season.
Well, I noticed, I couldn't help but notice, Raghunath, that there's a large gift underneath the tree over there.
That's for Mara. It's not for you,
there
sir.
yesterday. I think
that's not for
you.
you.
Are you sure it's not for me?
Well, the thing is, right after Christmas, we go to India. So it's sort of like some certain presents were given a little early. That's the Breville sandwich press. She's going to get that early in hopes to get some sandwiches out of her.
Oh, I see how it works. All right. And is my gift under there too?
Oh, yeah. You got a special gift. A special gift. It's wrapped in an invisible cloak.
How's
it going in Mayapur, sir?
Beautiful.
You're just living the life there.
I am. I gotta admit.
Yep.
I'd like to walk around. You know, I just there's a you know where there's Prabhupada's big samadhi.
Yeah.
And then across from that, there's the place where the samadhis of some of his disciples are, including my Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
And then that opens up into kind of a broader garden. And then deep inside there is now the samadhi for Bhakti Charu Swami.
Oh, wow.
Are you familiar with that area?
No.
Okay, but kind of you're like right in the middle of the whole inner campus, everything, but it turns into this beautiful garden. I just chanted my job over there. I lost track of time. That's why I came in late, right? I lost track of time.
Yeah, you were late today. Usually, when I'm late, you usually have this statement like,
no, I don't.
Everything's
usually,
okay.
One out of every,
but I just
want to
say that it's really good if you're not late. So I got Kasuba this morning. Maybe you could just come in a little earlier. Anyway, we got to try. It's Tell a Friend Tuesday, everybody. We got to spread this podcast around. We need you to organically spread it with people that you love, people who are on a spiritual path. The world's collapsing around us. We need to take shelter of the holy name. That's my statement for the day. If you're interested in going to India with us, do the trainings. This is we're wrapping everything up this week. This is the final week to register. I'm getting a bunch of last minute. Wait a second. You really got to do that. Go to wisdomofthesages.com. We got the 300-hour wisdom training. We have our 300-hour yoga bhakti cultural immersion training. We have our Wisdom of the Sages training, and we have our Kirtan Academy all in January. Great way to get away. It's at the Govardhan Eco Village. We spend the month with Radhanath Swami. Delicious cuisine and wonderful people. And it's if you're sitting on the fence, get off it right now and just come with us. It's great. And then also in February
over there.
Huh?
Breville pressed sandwiches.
Breville pressed sandwiches, perhaps. Right. Pressed sabji sandwiches. And also we have our Mayapur. It's like a week retreat in Mayapur, but people are going to the Flower Festival. Come. And it's also on wisdomofthesages.com. You can check that out. But this is the week where we are closing all registrations.
We're going to do
this week.
Beautiful things. We're going to get on a boat and float down the Ganges River doing kirtan as the sun sets.
Ooh.
We're going to go to the beautiful home of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and sing his songs and get deeper into his mood. We'll probably take a tour of the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, and lifetimes from now you'll be able to say, in my incarnation, 4 lifetimes ago, I was there even before it opened up. I was inside. I saw what it was like.
I was there about 3 years ago, and it was like amazing. Or in 2019, I think I was there last.
Remember we went to the Full Dome Theater?
It's incredible. Incredible.
My poor Full Dome Theater.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it all. Miss Mary, you got any announcements?
We got some Bhakti recovery group meetings today. The men meet at noon and the women meet at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, and our Italian people told us to give us a shout out today. Our Italian retreat is happening again this year. It's early this year. It's in early June 8th, June 11th, June 11th through the 18th. So go to wisdomofthesages.com. It's a great way. If you have a partner It's sort of like you're into Krishna consciousness, but they're not. This is sort of like a soft nudge. It's like, come, want to go to Italy with me? And you're like, sure. Well, it's sort of a Hare Krishna
But it's
retreat
really beautiful.
in Italy. It's actually because it's very sort of cultural and sort of beautiful and sort of beautifully woven together. So if you got somebody on the fence that you're like trying to feel them out or give them a little loving nudge, invite them to it, or a kid even. It's kid friendly. All my kids are coming, and Brandy's kids are coming, and it's going to be, I think, kids are there.
Kid thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, there's one more thing we're supposed to make announcements about. At least I'm supposed to.
What?
Is The Sage's Insight free online workshop.
Oh yeah.
On Vani.
Okay.
It's kind of it's a free online workshop. But you got to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Sign up today, they say. That'll be on Saturday, the 9th of December at 11 a.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Grand Median time.
Kostuba.
Free. And to do that, you go to courses.vanischool, VANI school.com/sage. Courses.vanischool.com/sage. And you just sign up, and then you're in.
And then you're in.
Easy as that.
Normally, this course would be $5,000. You're getting it for
not
free
now.
here.
It's free.
Not now.
You make $5,000 just like that.
We give you $5,000 to take this course.
Take it back. It's like we give you $5,000 and then you give it to us for the course. It's something like that.
It's like that.
Because you get $5,000 that way. Okay.
I don't know what to get my
ready?
kids for Christmas. My kids have everything. They're spoiled.
Okay. We don't have to worry about that on the show, Raghunath. You can work that out later.
Okay.
But why don't we get into the nugget? I gave you a nugget.
You want to do Richard Rohr's nugget today?
That's the one. That's the one I was thinking of.
All right, here it is. Ready?
Yeah, slow it down.
People. I was already doing that.
Okay.
People who sincerely search will touch upon the same truth in every age and culture. The direction is always towards more love and union in ever widening circles.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. People who sincerely search will touch upon the same truth in every age and culture. The direction is always towards more love and union in ever widening circles.
Thoughts, Raghu?
I look at the material world like this. There's always been a material world. And within that, there's always a small demographic of people who are not outward facing, but inward facing. That are not saying, you know what, there's things of this world that are gonna really, I don't know if it's from previous life or previous karma or childhood influence or just deep insight, but they realize, you know what, there's not big deal. There's nothing of this world that is really gonna like elate me in my deepest, in my heart's heart. And so they turn inside. And it's generally a smaller demographic, especially in the age of Kali. It's a smaller demographic. And so it doesn't matter what culture they're from or what religion they're from, or if they're from a particular organized religion, but they will go to this place that will find some commonality in people. People who sincerely search will touch upon the same truth. They're these eternal truths that last through the ages. They're not like the truth of 2023. They're eternal truths that last forever. They're unchangeable, and they're unchangeable as the world changes around it. These truths stay the same. And here Richard Rohr says the direction is always towards more love and union in an ever widening circle. So it's an ever expanding inclusiveness. We throw this word so cheaply around about inclusivity. Real inclusivity steps right outside the body, right outside all the species, right out, and we see things in what they actually are, which is a spiritual realm. I was trying to explain this to my 9-year-old yesterday. I was like, the difference between what we are externally and what we are internally. And so externally, we'll always have something that's changing. I'll be a son. I'll have a job. I was explaining this to my son driving home.
How was he? Was he connecting? Was he there?
He was. This is after a long talk about the mafia, what the mafia is.
Ever widening circles.
He's asking questions about informants and spies, and then somehow somehow we started talking about dharma and your external dharma of this world, and then we have an internal dharma. I said internally, we're actually just all servants of Krishna, and we're all servants of God. And then, and he was like, well, if there was no Maya, we'd all be pure devotees. I was like, yeah, but
thinking.
He's thinking, and so to have intense love, we have to turn towards Krishna. Krishna has to offer us Maya. He has to offer, here, you can take whatever you want, but when you choose, no, I just want you, Krishna, then the love intensifies. So back to the point, directions always towards more love and union in ever widening circles. Yeah. So I was saying our spirit self, that's all it actually wants, is this love and to see people for what they actually are. And in a world of political division, in a world of race division or gender division or skin color division, it's nice to go to something that actually ties us all together on the highest level. And that's why I say Sanatana Dharma, Krishna consciousness is the ultimate in inclusivity. There cannot be any inclusivity unless we accept that we are spiritual beings. That's everything's default.
All right.
And you're included.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you think about that, sir?
Well, I was thinking that a few things. First, where it starts, people who sincerely search. Okay, this is one key word, sincerely, right? That has to be there, because we might accept a spiritual culture, let's say, a spiritual path or tradition. We might accept it, but our sincerity may be lacking. We may have motives for accepting it. Motives, I want to be accepted. It could be so many different reasons, but those that are sincerely saying, you know what, I'm not in this for salvation. I'm not in this for acceptance or validation. I'm in this for truth. I really want to get to the truth. If deep in the heart one has this, if you want the illusion, you'll get the illusion. But if sincerely you want the truth, then he's saying that sincerity, it leads people to the same ideas, whatever culture they're in. It's the sincerity that's important, and it's leading to certain thoughts, certain ideas. He says, touching upon the same truth. Doesn't matter what the age is, doesn't matter what the culture is, you connect. And then he, what I like about this also is, he says the direction is always toward more love and union. He didn't even say it's towards exactly peace. He said it's towards more love and union, and I'm with him there. I think that is, this book that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at an exciting point in it now,
Tell me.
For me, it makes me think a lot and categorize things in certain ways. But, the first part of the book, which is about 2/3 of the book, I would call it conventional Vedanta. It's those things that anyone that has an interest in Vedanta accepts, teachings on the nature of the self, being eternal, Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss, teachings on the mind, on samskaras, on the gunas, on time, on karma. These are common elements that all Vedantins understand. Understanding how we're entrapped in this world. This is kind of common ground. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna begins to use this term. He'll say guyam or rahasyam. He says there's a confidential part of Vedanta. Like in the 15th chapter, which we studied this year because we went through Purushottamas, right? It talks about how we how living beings are passing through different bodies, and when they enter into the next body, they have senses that are programmed in ways that are appropriate to their previous karma, and then they identify entirely with that body, and they pass through lifetime after lifetime. Krishna says those who have the eyes, they can see all this.
Mm.
And then he goes further and he says, actually, there's a person, a Purushottama, a supreme person that's behind it all, that's making it all work. And I'm that person. And then he says, and when he comes to the end, he says that when you know that person, then with bhakti, with love, you serve that person. And he said, and then he says, this is the highest, the most confidential teachings of all the Vedas. To know and love that person that's connected, that connects everything, you know. That's so when he says the direction always moves is always toward more love and union, our understanding is that's right. That's the confidential spiritual teachings, that when you get to them, it's not just about finding my own peace and merging into a light. It's actually about personhood, knowing of the person behind it, feeling love for the person behind it. And through that, he says ever widening circles. Ever widening circles have to have a center, you know? And so when you get to, and when you vibrate in harmony with that center, you begin to vibrate in harmony with all the concentric circles, you know, ever widening circles. You're vibrating on the same, you're feeling love, you're feeling union, feeling that connection in ever widening circles. I think he's on to something. I think Richard Rohr was sincerely searching.
And Aaron Henderson asked the question, can you cultivate that sincerity?
Yeah.
How would you answer that? How do you cultivate sincerity?
You know, that's kind of one of those questions. Whenever we get one of those how-to questions, generally the answers are more or less the same. There's a process to follow. But you know, if I would say that what's so important is that you find the sangha of people that you see have that sincerity. It's people that have lost interest. Not, when I say lost interest, I don't mean that they don't have awareness of the value of externals or how to apply externals, but they're beyond the externals. They're done with being confused by externals. They're looking for the essence. They sincerely want that essence. Look for those people. And when you're with them, it's by always being reminded of that through their sincerity that your own sincerity flourishes. Otherwise, our sincerity can get snuffed out so easily by so many distracting factors.
Right. All right. So what do you say we dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Let's do it.
Be a little sincere about this. We have chapter 13, King Indra afflicted by sinful reaction.
This is some scary stuff. This is going to be the kind of wrap up Indra's whole. Actually, maybe there'll be some more stuff for Indra, but it's kind of wrapping things up. He just killed Vritrasura, right? He just killed, for the second time, he killed a Brahmana. Right? Because Vritrasura, at least he was born in a Brahmana family. Previous to that, he killed Vritrasura's brother.
Whoops.
Yeah, so now he had to do it, kind of, and he ended up doing it again. He killed another Brahmana. Everybody's celebrating because he was apparently, externally, superficially, he was a demon. But Indra was on that battlefield talking with him, and he understood he's not a demon at all. He's a Brahmana. He's a pure devotee, and now I have to kill him.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
While I got you here,
because
I'm reading, two things came up because you and me are reading the Mahabharata, and Mara reading the Mahabharata now.
Oh yeah.
And you hear about these demons that are taking birth in pious royal families.
Yeah.
When we speak of demons, and not only that, when you see, it's just like opened YouTube to listen to the Madhavas this morning during my shower, and
Madhavas rock
it's
band.
like, yeah, and there's this horrible thing about this young kid who was sentenced to life in prison for like this heinous murder. And I was like,
what are you talking
well,
about?
I'm just saying it just came up. This person who's a young kid who wanted to murder somebody, and so they did it. And I was just thinking, and it's like completely heinous. It's completely demonic. So are there demons taking birth? Are the demons just doing time in the material world? Their soul, there's a pure soul. But what is it? You think it's like lifetimes of demonic minds that are downward spiraling? Like I'm asking questions. I'm asking you sincerely.
You're asking me why that person murdered
No, I'm
like
just
that?
no, not about him, but even the demons from the Mahabharata. Are they actually their essential being is not demon, right? Their essential being is a spirit soul.
Always.
It's not like anybody is essentially a devil, correct?
No, correct. This is a pure soul theology.
Okay. I'm just double checking. So you just think it's
but when the
lifetimes
mind
of
is
evil
warped,
practices?
It's like if you take a crystal that's perfectly clear, but you put they say you put a red colored rose next to the crystal.
Mm-hmm.
The crystal is still clear, but it appears that the crystal is now rosy colored. Similarly, the soul, whether it's in the body of a deva or an asura, right? It's pure because it's made of Krishna. This is what we have to all understand. Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, right? That we are all made of Krishna's energy. It means we're pure by nature. Even if, but if we have this warped mind, then what is pure inside appears to take on the nature of that warped mind. Like if the warped mind is the rose, and the heart of the living entity or the soul is the crystal, then it appears the crystal, the soul, is warped. But the soul is never warped. But you can go deep into that warped nature, and it sure seems like it.
Yeah, and it could be lifetimes of warpness, like getting better at being bad.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just double checking that the soul is pure underneath all of this stuff. Okay.
Okay.
And of course, that the devotees can.
Did you get to the part where Jarasundha tries to get into such a devotee's mind?
No. Shh.
She tries to enter. She's blocking it. He's trying to get in there.
Text 1. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaivan narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam madirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the most human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes to the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 13, Text 1.
What's it entitled?
King Indra afflicted by sinful reactions.
Bad karma. Let's just call it bad karma.
It's called bad karma.
It's coming his way. Karma. It's coming, and it's messy, Raghunath.
Yeah.
It's messy.
I like bad karma because it's not like blaming God for something bad that's happening. It's like you did something. There's some reaction. Life is eternal. Yeah. That's what the great thing about these sacred literature is. You see yourself as not just like, okay, this is Ray Capo or Raghunath's life. You see yourself as an eternal being. You've done a lot of stuff, Ray Capo, in your last life to get what you got in this life, good and bad. And it's going to manifest somehow. And then whatever you do in this lifetime is also going to life is an eternal path, and it's filled with ups and downs and ups and downs. And everything strangely, and it's hard to see through this small vantage point of Raghunath, but life is eternal and things pay off. And there is a benevolent force ultimately lifting us higher. And the devotees of Lord Krishna, we act also as that benevolent force. We become like the outreach, extending hands. In the same way we've seen people extend their hands to us, we extend our hands. That's part of our service. Don't mock me with your long hand, your long arm. Sri Sukadeva Goswami, text 1. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O King Pricket, who are so charitably disposed. When Vritrasura was killed, all the presiding deities and everyone else in the 3 planetary systems was immediately pleased and free from trouble. Everyone, that is, except Indra.
Okay, so this what appeared to be only superficially appeared to be, but everybody thought, oh my God, that demon Vritrasura is nothing but trouble. Now he's dead. We're safe. Right.
Thereafter,
So
the demigods,
celebrating.
the great saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitri Loka, Bhuta Loka, the demons, the followers of the demigods, and also Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the demigods subordinate to Indra, all returned to their respective homes while departing. However, no one spoke to Indra.
He must have been he was the one person that wasn't celebrating. He was like, oh, that was a whole mind game that he's just been through.
What have I done?
Killed a pure devotee. Seemed like I was supposed to. There's no way out, but I had to do it.
Maharaj Pricket inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, O great sage, what was the reason for Indra's unhappiness? I wish to hear about this. When he killed Vritrasura, all the demigods were extremely happy. Why then was Indra himself unhappy?
Why?
Sukadeva Goswami answered, when all the great sages and demigods were disturbed by the extraordinary power of Vritrasura, they had assembled to ask Indra to kill him. Indra, however, being afraid of killing a Brahmana, declined their request. Indra replied, when I killed the Vishvarup, I received extensive sinful reactions. But I was favored by women, land, trees, and water, and therefore I was able to divide the sin amongst them. But now, if I kill Vritrasura, another Brahmana, how shall I free myself from the sinful reactions?
More bad karma. Okay. So he didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Right. Text 6. Hearing this, the great sage replied to King Indra, O King of Heaven, all good fortune unto you. Do not fear. We shall perform an Ashvamedha sacrifice to release you from any sin that you may accrue by killing the Brahmana.
So this right here, this is not the way Vaishnavas think, right? Bhakti yogis think. It's okay. Go ahead and do something that incurs bad karma. We'll negate the bad karma. Yes, we'll counteract it, because the devotee's thinking, it's not only that I want all my actions to be free of bad karma, I want all my actions to be pleasing to Lord Vishnu, pleasing to Lord Krishna. That's how I determine, Hari Toshanam. I want my actions to please the Lord. But here he's getting this kind of karma kundik kind of advice. Don't worry, you can do this. We're going to counteract it with our rituals.
And there's a lot of that going on in Vedic culture also. Yeah. Metaphysical,
Hindu
counteracting
culture.
Good and bad karmas.
Yeah.
You ever get into Rudraksha beads? No. Rudraksha beads are interesting. They have different faces. According to the faces of the Rudrakshas, they have different mystical potencies. There's 2-faced Rudrakshas, 3-faced Rudrakshas. It's an amazing entire science of studying the effects of these Rudrakshas on the subtle being.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with Vaishnavism, but it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Google that, somebody. Rudrakshas, the different faces of Rudraksha beads. Okay, it's like a 3-leaf and a 4-leaf clover, something like that.
All right.
Okay. One who has killed a Brahmin, who has killed a cat. The rishis continued, O King Indra, by performing this Ashvamedha yagya, and thereby pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Super Soul, Lord Narayan, the Supreme Controller, one can be relieved even of the sinful reactions for killing the entire world.
Excuse me? Okay.
Not to speak of killing a demon like Vritrasura.
So they want to do the Ashvamedha ritual.
That's the horse rejuvenation sacrifice?
That's the horse rejuvenation ritual, we call it around here.
That's how we... One who has killed a Brahmana, one who has killed a cow, or one who has killed his father. These are all pretty heinous crimes. His father, his mother, or a spiritual master. Oh my God. Can be immediately freed from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Narayan. We're not saying go do those things.
Definitely not saying do those.
We are not recommending go do those things, but they're saying that it's showing the potency of the holy name. That once you take up your bhakti path, your past is forgiven, but you got to move forward on your bhakti path. You don't go back to your murderous ways. Other sinful persons, such as dog eaters, that must have been a thing.
Sure.
Right? Dog eaters.
I mean, they're around, you know.
I don't know.
The dogs.
Actually.
The dogs
What's that?
are around. The
dogs are around. Yeah. Other sinful persons. So that's a sinful thing to eat a dog. If you know what, if there's such a thing as sin, eating a dog is one of them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Eating a cow is also. Other sinful persons, such as dog eaters and chandalas, who are less than Sudras, right? Sudras are still part of the Vedic system. Chandalas and dog eaters are not.
Yeah.
Right. They can also be freed in this way. But you are a devotee, and we shall help you by performing the great horse yagya.
Rejuvenation ritual.
If you please Lord Narayan in that way, why should you be afraid? You'll be freed even if you kill the entire universe, including the Brahmins, not to speak of the killing a disturbing demon like Vritrasura. Encouraged by the words of the sages, Indra killed Vritrasura, and when he was killed, the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana, which is called Brahma Hatya, certainly took shelter of Indra.
So it seems like, well, you're about to find out. It wasn't so quite as smooth as his priests were telling him.
Right. Following the advice of the demigods, Indra killed Vritrasura, and he suffered because of the sinful killing. Although the other demigods were happy, he could not derive happiness from the killing of Vritrasura. Indra's other good qualities, such as tolerance and opulence, could not help him in his grief.
Okay.
Indra saw personified sinful reactions. Okay, listen. Indra saw personified sinful reaction chasing him. So
personified bad karma chasing you.
Yeah, imagine personified bad karma. So you've heard of bad. We've all heard of bad karma. Imagine if bad karma takes on a personhood,
a human form,
or some other form. Some form. It doesn't have to be human. It could be a big monster, right? Well, so yeah, this monstrous form is now chasing him, and it appears like a chandala, dog-eating woman, a woman of the lowest class. She seemed very old, and all the limbs of her body trembled because she was afflicted with tuberculosis. What does that mean? Like she coughed up phlegm?
Blood.
They cough up blood. Okay, that's pretty gross. You're supposed to picture this old, hideous, dog-eating woman. She might even have like a drumstick of a dog in her hand, and she's coughing up blood, and she's chasing you. What's that?
Because she was afflicted with tuberculosis.
Oh, it gets worse. Okay. Her body and garments were covered with blood. Oh, God. I guess if this is bad, if bad karma took on a form, it would probably look.
I would rather just go right out.
Look like something like this.
I would rather go back out on the battlefield and get killed like over and over again.
Breathing an unbearable fishy odor. That smells like my dog's breath, truthfully.
But this is really unbearable.
Polluted the entire street. You ever walk down Chinatown through the fish market? This could be like that. Breathing an unbearable fishy odor that polluted the entire street. She called to Indra, wait!
Nobody waits.
No one waits.
Personified sinful reaction, personified bad karma is chasing you. You keep running.
Yeah.
Now think about this, Raghunath. Just think for a second. Poor Indra.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. I'm living this right now.
Poor Indra again. Where did all this start? Don't even answer that question yet.
I'm finding it interesting that even though she's old and has tuberculosis, She's a pretty good runner.
She's got power. Bad karma ain't nothing to mess with. Keeps coming.
Okay. Go.
Oh, King
Tell me.
Indra.
You're gonna
No,
I
no.
thought you were gonna tell me something. I thought you were about to
Well, I was.
lecture me.
Let's hold it for the end. I'm not gonna lecture you. We're talking here. What are you talking?
Oh, okay. So you're gonna give me a little soliloquy.
I'll save it for the end. There's only 20 verses in this.
Okay.
23 verses.
All right, we're doing good here. We're burning through. Imbibing.
You want to move through this chapter quickly because it's scary.
Okay, I think it's interesting. O King Indra first fled to the sky, but there also he saw the woman of personified sin chasing him. The witch followed him wherever he went. At last, he very quickly went to the northeast and entered the Manasarovra Lake.
All right. Sometimes when things are really bad, you just dive in the lake.
Like getting chased by a swarm of bees or something.
Yeah.
Although thinking of how he could be thanks, Mara. Always thinking of how he could be relieved from the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana, King Indra, invisible to everyone, lived in the lake for 1,000 years in the subtle fibers of the stem of a lotus. Oh, that old trick. Hiding in a lotus stem.
Found a place.
Now, some of you might say, well, wait a second. How does a king of the demigods live in a lotus stem? He can do these things. Don't try this at home. The fire god used to bring him his share of yagyas, but because the fire god was afraid to enter the water, Indra was practically starving.
He's just suffering.
He's just suffering. He's hiding out.
Hiding. Starving.
As long as King Indra lived in the water wrapped in the stem of a lotus, Nahusha was equipped with the ability to rule the heavenly kingdom due to his knowledge, austerity, and mystic power.
Okay, get this now, Rogan.
Who's
so
Nahusha?
Nahusha is some kind of deva, and it's like, oh, he's absent. The king is kind of absent for some time. I'll take up his duties, no problem. But now watch what he does.
Nahusha, however, blinded and maddened by power and opulence, made undesirable proposals to Indra's wife. What? With a desire to enjoy her.
The nerve.
I tell you, the same thing's happening in the spirit, in the celestial regions as what's going on.
You get bewildered.
The Jerry Springer show, isn't it? It's the same thing is going on in the celestial regions.
It can be like that. And you get bewildered by that power and by the opulence. He's thinking, I'm powerful, I'm opulent. Indra's hiding in some lotus stem. What do you want with him? I'm here. Right? Now he gets bewildered, and now he's going to suffer.
I'm reading the Jiva Dharma right now.
Okay.
I'm seeing people obsessed with. Oh man, I'm learning so many lessons from this book. It's really. I feel like you feel like Krishna sent me this to read now. Ever feel like that?
I feel that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what's going on in my life right now. This book was sent to me to read.
Thus Nahusha.
Thus, Mara, point, please. Thank you. Thus, Nahusha was cursed by a Brahmin and later became a snake.
So,
okay,
everybody that's fallen into that leadership position, that power position, they're all getting bewildered, and they're all suffering because of it.
That's why good karma. We said it before. We'll say it again. Good karma can ruin your life.
Okay.
Good karma can ruin your life. You got it. You got the position. You got the power. You got the ladies. You got the guys. You got the stuff. And all of a sudden, you're doing something really foolish that's going to ruin tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Don't pray for good karma. Pray for bhakti.
There you go.
Right? Pray for connection. Pray for devotion. Pray to serve the servants.
There you go.
Don't pray pray to God to protect you from your desires. Your desires got you to this miserable place. All your greatest thinking and prayers got you in so much trouble.
So true. Okay.
Some people can relate to that.
So Indra's bad karma was diminished.
Where are we,
from
Mary?
that. 17.
Mara's so good. She puts it right to the top of the screen. You're so on it. Thank you. Appreciating you today. Indra's sins were diminished by the influence of Rudra, the demigod of all directions.
Okay.
Because Indra was protected by the goddess of fortune, Lord Vishnu's wife, who resides in the lotus clusters of Manasarovar Lake. Indra's sins cannot affect him.
So he's got Rudra got his back. Lakshmi's got his back.
Pretty good. Indra was ultimately relieved of all the reactions of his sinful deeds by strictly worshiping Lord Vishnu.
Okay, and Vishnu's got his back.
When he was called back to the heavenly planets by the Brahmins and reinstated in his position.
Then he was called back to the heavenly planets by the Brahmanas and reinstated. So he burned off his bad karma. He suffered a lot though. It was just imagine you're the kingly person, then suddenly some woman vomiting blood and just like she's chasing after you.
I've been there, done that.
Running. We've all been there, man.
I've had those women chase me.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah.
We probably all have been there in one lifetime or another.
Yes. It was after a concert in Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, I remember that night.
Okay, text 18. O king, when Lord Indra reached the heavenly planets, the saintly brahmanas approached him and properly initiated him into the horse rejuvenation ritual meant to please the Supreme Lord. Oh, now they do it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe
Maybe you could have done it while the bleeding,
first?
vomiting woman was chasing me.
Yeah.
The horse ritual.
The horse ritual performed by the saintly Brahmins relieved Indra of the reactions to all his sins because he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that sacrifice. What would happen if the woman caught him?
It's just messy.
Oh, Krishna.
Keep going.
O king, although he had committed a gravely sinful act, it was nullified at once by that sacrifice, just as fog is vanquished by the brilliant sunrise.
So people may be wondering the horse ritual, the horse rejuvenation ritual. We call it that because it's called a horse sacrifice, but the idea is that it's not that you just kill a horse. The idea is you get a really old horse, and the priests, they take the horse and they bring it into the fire. And what happens is the horse doesn't die in the fire. The same horse comes out in a new horse body. It's like rejuvenated.
What?
And when they do that, everybody knows these priests are for real. They know exactly what they're doing.
Priests had power.
Yeah.
Even up till recently, I was just reading. Anyway, keep it going. Keep it going.
King Indra was favored.
King Indra was favored by Marichi and the other great sages.
Yeah.
Remember Marichiasana?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a
twist
tough
on
one.
that one.
That was a tough one.
I never had a problem with that one.
You didn't? Marichiasana
No.
D? That was a tough one.
Skinny guys like me, that kind of stuff is easy.
Twisting, wrapping, half lotus. Okay. King Indra was favored by Marichi and other great sages. They performed the sacrifice just according to the rules and regulations, worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, the original person. Thus, Indra regained his exalted position and was again honored by everyone.
That's how karma works, right? Good karma, you enjoy it, it burns off, you're back to normal. Bad karma, you burn it, you suffer, you come back to normal. That's the way it is.
We're all burning a little karma, aren't we?
Yeah. But you put your life in Krishna's hands, and then you don't worry about it. Good or bad, whatever comes to me, I accept it in Krishna's service.
I'm going to bring back a memory that was a pretty heavy memory.
That Minneapolis show?
No. When Gopal Chandra was, our friend was dying of cancer, he was always in good spirits when I'd come over and we'd sing together. It was very beautiful to see him just like all of a sudden click into happiness. And even his non-devotee friends who would be there, because some people came to stay with him, they're always like, why is this guy happy? He's dying. but he was like very connected, and when we
It
chant
looked
together,
like a person suffering very bad karma, right? Emaciated,
sure,
in the
sure,
wheelchair, can barely move.
emaciated in a wheelchair, exactly.
Yeah.
And so all of his friends from high school and stuff would come over, and they'd be almost like crying. But
Yeah.
when we'd come and we'd have kirtan, he'd smile, and he'd like, it was hard for him to clap his hands and lift his hands, but he would do it. And they couldn't understand, well, why is this guy happy? But there was one day in particular when I came over and he was really distressed. It was towards the end, and he said, Raghunath, what have I done so sinful? What have I done so bad that I've got this karma? I'm young. I have little children. Why is this happening to me? And me being the genius that I am with an answer for everything, I was completely stumped. And we'd go together and we would read the Bhagavatam every day. And we were reading about Judd Bart, the spirit soul who takes on this different births for his activities, and etc. And so we were reading a purport, and I said, I don't know. Let's read the Bhagavatam. And we went right to it's one of those moments, one of those Krishna miracles when you got a question and you open a book and the book speaks to you. I'm sure you've had that happen. I'm sure everybody here has had that happen to them. Let's just see what, right? And this is what it said, right? And this is what it said. It said, this is the very first sentence I read.
Gopal Chandra.
Or it didn't address him by name. Question. To answer your question, it said, for a devotee of Lord Krishna, there is no such thing as bad karma. If a devotee is experiencing any reversals in life, they should understand that Krishna is directly accelerating their path to bhakti. And I was like, and we both looked at each other like, boom, that's a Krishna miracle. That is a Krishna miracle. Doesn't mean in our heart of hearts, if we see someone in pain, we shouldn't feel sad for them. If we see a devotee in pain, we shouldn't feel sad. But if we're going through that pain, we should understand Krishna is accelerating my bhakti. He wants me to, he's taking away all my strength, all my ego, all my ability, all my beauty. And he's like forcing me to take shelter of his lotus feet because there's no other shelter.
Right. Raghunath.
Yeah.
That was
worked up now. I'm worked up.
That was very pertinent passage of your life you shared with us. I want to reflect just for a second as we end this chapter.
Reflect.
Let's go back, Raghunath. Let's look at poor Indra, right? Who's the hero? You're not going to find a more powerful, wealthy, handsome, successful hero than Indra. But because his bhakti's not pure yet, because his devotion to God is still mixed with, I want to be the man. I want to be the man. I want to enjoy being the man. He's gone through so much. Now, where did this all start, Raghunath? Where did Indra's trouble begin? Do you remember? He neglected something. He was there, and all his desires were being fulfilled. He was sitting on a throne with his beautiful wife, and everybody was singing his glories. Right? It was a big party for him. This is what we all want inside, right? If I was the center of attention, everyone was praising me, and I was there with the beautiful girl, and in that, he was like, now he was tasting that enjoyment. Let me taste it. Let me relish it. This is what I've been waiting for. And in that bewilderment that one enters when they turn their back to the truth, when they try to take that role of Krishna ultimately as the central enjoyer, he became bewildered. And when his guru entered that arena, he just didn't even pay him any attention, right? He neglected since that moment, the devas, the demigods, the Asuras became powerful, fought the demigods, left them all battered and embarrassed. They had to go with their tail between the legs and beg Brahma to somehow help them figure out their situation. Brahma sent them to Vishnu, and they were given they were told to go to this young priest, Vishvarup. Vishvarup gave them the mantras to chant in order to get the Nrsinga Kavacha to be protected. They followed his instructions. They
Narayan Kavacha, right?
I'm sorry, the Narayan Kavacha, and they fought the Asuras, and they were successful. But then again, Indra became bewildered. As soon as things were good again, he became bewildered, and he saw his priest helping the Asuras in some way. He kills that priest. He dives down again into craziness and insanity, which leads to him having to fight Vritrasura. Then he goes through that whole head game. And then for killing Vritrasura, he's got to have this disgusting, horrible, personified bad karma hag chasing him like crazy. And then he had to hide in embarrassment.
What's the male version of a hag?
I don't know.
Men don't get a pass. They can be hags too.
A goon.
A goonie.
Yeah, and then he has to hide away for all this time. Meanwhile, Nahusha's hitting on his wife. And finally, he comes out of hiding, and now they finally perform the rituals. And he's kind of back to normal now. But what a roller coaster! Where did it all start? When we neglect to respect and honor those truth speakers in our lives, those people who we should be showing reverence to, who we should be hearing from, who we should be imbibing good instruction, good reason from, whose examples we should be looking towards, whose examples we should be following. When we neglect to find those people and approach them with the right sentiments, our life just becomes one big disgusting embarrassment, even for Indra.
Sure.
All right.
Material life is a little embarrassing. Oh wow, it's time already.
I
wanted to talk.
I just want to share that at the end.
We got the last verse, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, you could do the last verse.
Should we do the last verse? It's 7:00.
Okay. Do it.
In this very great narrative, there is a glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. There are statements about the exaltedness of devotional service.
That's the most important part.
There are descriptions of devotees like Indra and Vritrasura, and there are statements about King Indra's release from sinful life and about his victory in fighting the demons. By understanding this incident, one is relieved of all sinful reactions.
Bad karma.
Now we're relieved. Therefore, the learned are always advised to read this narration. If one does so, one will become expert in the activities of the senses. His opulence will increase, and his reputation will become widespread. All those things we have to be careful about.
We're not interested in those things.
We're not interested because this narration is auspicious in all respects. Learned scholars regularly hear and repeat it on every festival day.
Okay.
Interesting. All right, Miss Mara, we need some takeaways because we got to take a kid to school soon.
All right. Turn away from Maya and towards love.
Turn away.
Sanatana Dharma is the ultimate in inclusivity.
Inclusivity.
Cultivate sincerity.
Nothing.
The soul is never warped.
Okay.
Bad karma ain't nothing to mess with.
Neither is good karma.
Good karma can ruin your life.
Yep. T-shirt, mug, tattoo.
Your desires got you to this miserable place.
Yeah.
Don't pray for good karma, pray for bhakti.
Oh, yeah.
For a devotee, there is no bad karma.
No. Nope.
Don't neglect to respect and honor our gurus.
Don't neglect to respect.
It's not bad karma. Also, it's accelerating our path in devotional service, accelerating our path in bhakti.
And
no
one waits when personified bad karma is chasing us.
You just haul.
Run.
That would be really scary. That's like a total horror film.
That's a horror film. All right. Look, Bob and Nanda, thanks everybody for joining us. Nice to see everybody live on Zoom. You want to join us live on Zoom? You can too. Email Mara. wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Hey, Mara's got some Shravadam scarves for sale. Contact her at Wisdom of the Sages. Do you? Well, she does. Those are. I want to give a plug for Shravadam scarves. Remember, this is wind-up week. Wisdomofthesages.com if you want to go with us in January or a pilgrimage in February to Mayapur. Short time, it's just a week. Everybody can get off for a week, I think, in February. That's reasonable. And Mayapur is very kid-friendly, as is the wisdom training. So if you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence, jump off that fence. Come along. Yes, Professor Snooky and Snookalini, we want you there. Thanks to everybody for joining us today. Dominica joined from Japan today. You're going to be at GV? What?